Hey everyone, Phi Farley here. It is February 24th. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day, everybody. College basketball best bet for you. I'm going to break a game down that I like a lot here. Little different take today, and I'm going to explain smaller schools, of which I have done extremely well on. I want to talk a little bit more about that here in just 1 second before I break this game down. Yesterday, winning day overall. Unfortunately, just barely. Another win in the NBA. Ended up being a 4-4 day in college basketball. Getting another win on these smaller schools with High Point, Campbell under. Nice hit there. But in general, just some up and down. Took a risk there with TCU going against West Virginia. It was right on that line. The money was over on the TCU side. Unfortunately, the line moved from 9 to 7. The game lands at 8. So was on the wrong side of that line move. I don't like when that happens, so a little upset about that one. All right, let's talk a little bit again about these smaller schools and these smaller conferences. So there is a school of thought that in college basketball, if you can pick one conference and just study that one conference, know the players, dig in deep, you will have an edge on the books when it comes to Vegas, and you can be a profitable bettor if you were able to just dig into those smaller schools year over year and really know those conferences like you would a Big Ten, like you would an ACC or an SEC or a Pac-12 and the like. So if you can dig into, and I'm not even talking about a mid-major, I'm not talking about the Sun Belt or the Atlantic 10, I'm talking about, the Southland Conference, the Patriot Conference. I'm talking about the really small schools, the Big South. I'm talking about the ones that if you were to walk up, the average bettor would not know any of the starting players on that team. They wouldn't know the tempo they run. They wouldn't know how they handle individuals and matchups within their conference. And the reason why I say those things is because that is the edge that you can gain when you study those conferences. Now, that said, I brought up yesterday talking about line movement and how it's more pure in those smaller conferences. And today, I'm going to follow that up with when you study those individuals in those matchups, you can see teams that are very hard to win. Like, for example, Jackson State, very difficult to beat at home. They have had a long-standing trend of backing them at home because they're a tough school. Even when they're at the bottom of their conference, they're a very tough school to beat on the road. Also within that conference, those teams are not very good on the road. So you can typically back a home team versus a road team in a dog position at home because they can often pull through. So there's things that you can study within those conferences that would be more profitable than those same differences in the bigger conferences. For example, Big Ten, yesterday we had Illinois and Michigan State face off. We know that we know the players on Michigan State and Illinois. We know Michigan State started the year ranked in the top 10. We saw how they were ousted by some of their lesser opponents preseason ranking-wise in the Big Ten Conference and watched them fall out of the top 25. They're rebounding and coming back. Illinois, on the other hand, have found themselves working their way up the top 25 throughout the season. We know that the Big Ten, it's very difficult to win on the road in those other Big Ten schools, so you got a home court advantage. Almost every team in the Big Ten has. So there's things that most bettors know that. You're not getting an edge by knowing that and for what the line is. It's going to reflect all that information. Typically, though, you're not going to get that information reflected on a Jackson State game. So, again, if bang for your buck, if you can spend time studying some of those smaller schools, it's typically worth doing so. It's also good to have a community where pick a small conference, study them, and then share with that group on your conferences so you can get a couple games to play each week, week in and week out. Study the matchups, study how they've done in the past, and study the individuals, who's in and who's out, injury reports. Get on Twitter, get on there, follow them, follow those schools, get the updates before everyone else gets those updates. Then you can follow the trends and the line moves and know exactly not just what, but why the lines are moving. All right, let's talk about the daily best bet. Here we go. Speaking of, I'm going small school because I'm sick of these big schools drawing me in and giving you guys non-winners. So today I'm going with a winner, hopefully, here at 4 o'clock tip in the, speaking of small conferences, in the Patriot Conference, we have Loyola, Maryland. Now, this is a team that I backed early last year and then faded them later as they lost Aldama, one of their top, matter of fact, he is their top point scorer. And they're going up against American here, who has lost 2 of their top 3 scorers for this game, all as of recent. They just faced Loyola, Maryland a few weeks back. They beat them twice, one by 1 point, one by 2 points. And now they're going into Loyola, Maryland with their 2 leading scorers out of this game. When you look at the scoring in that last game, they held Loyola, Maryland to 14%, only 2 3-pointers made in that game overall. That will not happen again. Overall, they shot, I'm going to bring this up for you. Sorry, computer's going a little slow here. Overall, they shot 14%, 14 threes. 2 of them made. That is not going to continue. Meanwhile, American made 12 3-pointers in that game. That's the difference to give them an edge by 2 points. You flip that around. This is not just a 10-point win. This is a 20-plus point win. And you may say, wow, that sounds crazy. They just lost 2 to this team. Now they're going to win by 20. Absolutely. Revenge, playing at home. 2 of the top 3 scorers are out. They up their defensive level, and this is going to be an absolute blowout. I'm going with that. This line opened at 6.5. It's been bet up to 9.5. Those that know this conference and know this matchup know that this will be a double-digit win here for Loyola, Maryland. They can absolutely do it, and they should do it here in this matchup. So give me Loyola, Maryland, the Greyhounds, minus the 9.5, and hopefully here we get a win as the best bet of the day. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you again soon.